Hi everybody, happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. And if you didn't, just remember every day's a new day. You get to start fresh. Um, have a good week. So here I made 3 different crosses just in time for Easter. I did not use Waverly Antique Wax. I used burnt umber, and there's my miter shears, which are great. Don't judge by how hard I have, how hard it is for me to get through these sticks, because I just don't have. My hands are arthritic and I don't have power like I used to. So yeah, I used white and burnt umber apple barrel paints, and it just turns out gorgeous. So, anyways, I start off with this Dollar Tree cross, and I end up not using it because I use giant craft sticks from Walmart. See, I didn't call them popsicle sticks like I usually do. Wish I had a popsicle that big, those giant sticks. Anyways, so we're gonna cut these pieces at 2.5 inches, these smaller pieces. And, these are leftover Walmart paint stir sticks. And I'm going to use some leftover Lowe's paint stir sticks to make a border out of them, to go around the outside of these. So I did this video and I finished it. I finished this cross up, and after I did the grand finale, I decided that it needed something. I just didn't like the way it was. So I decided to put a border on it, and that's where I used the Lowe's, the thicker paint stir sticks. And I just used scrap pieces that I had left over. And I thought this would be, it turns out, I don't want to say cute, it turns out really gorgeous actually. So 2.5 inches for your pieces, and then 7 3/4 for the big pieces. So you're going to see me lay this out several times just to, figure it out. Once I get it figured out, it's not hard to do. It's not hard at all. You want to make sure that you have the same distance between each of your slats. And here this is where I decided it was going to be 7 3/4, because I could get 7 3/4 out of that one piece. So I made them both that size, and this, you can make them however big you want. And, like I said, I decided you're not going to see that. And here I'm just straightening up the ends so I get a good clean cut, or, the measurement comes out right. So anyways, it doesn't have to be 7 3/4. It doesn't have to be 2.5 inches. But once I realized that you wasn't going to see that cross at all, I decided, I'll save that for another, make another cross out of that. If you were going to see it, they'd be different, but you're not going to see this at all. Now, I'll tell you, the back side of this, once you get it done, is not cute, so you're not going to want to, leave it setting where people can see the back side of it. So once you get everything cut up, you want to sand your ends down. Make sure that they're smooth so you don't get any splinters. Those miter shears are really good, so don't judge them by how much trouble I have getting through these pieces, because it's my hands. It's one of those it's me and not you type of situations. So I have to mark the back side. I have to flip it over until I can finally get through it. So I'm going to give full coverage. No, I'm not. I'm going to do one side of each of these. One side, and then all 4 of the sides. Does that make sense? I hope. Yeah, so the back side you're not going to see, so you don't have to do that. Now I did paint the cross, burnt umber also. This was before I realized that I didn't need to use that. Now I was going to paint this. I just went ahead. I didn't have any intention of distressing it while I was painting it. I was just going to go back in with sandpaper. But it turned out looking so good, just the way that I did it, that I did do a little bit more distressing with sandpaper, but if you paint it right, you don't even have to worry about sanding it. But it just turned out so nice looking. The paints were definitely going together well. It looks like it's, it had been white once and the paint was wearing off of it. So I'm glad, I did that with just the paint. I didn't have to go back in and sand a bunch of it. I did sand a little bit. I really wanted it to be rustic looking. So it almost felt like, well, I wasn't really trying to dry brush. I did put a lot of white on the brush, but it was almost like the paint was dry. Maybe that paint's old or something, but it was perfect. So whatever it was, it just turned out perfect. So you're going to see me write on the back of these as to where their placement is. Oh no, that's on the other piece. Sorry, that's on the outside pieces I was thinking. But yeah, it ends up being kind of a futile thing. So to put these down, I'm going to put them down. I'm going to measure, and then I'm going to cut the ends, the rounded ends of these off. Now make sure that your pieces are the same distance, apart, each one of them. And then I'm going to mark, and I'm going to cut the ends off. And I'm going to use one of those ends down at the bottom to raise up that bottom piece. Now here, I'm just cutting the ends off. Then I'm going to take one of those and glue it down at the bottom there to hold my bottom piece up. Now you'll see me put two down, but I actually only needed one, and I end up prying that top piece off because it just put it up a little bit too high. So that's where I realized it's just a little bit high. Now I'm not a big hot glue kind of girl, but you need a lot of hot glue for this project. I think about it all the time. Most of my projects, I don't use a lot of hot glue. But for this one, there was no shame in my hot glue game. I am not even joking. When you see me put the border on, you're going to see me use a lot of hot glue. And then I turn it over and I glued the heck out of it. So it is not pretty on the back side. But it's gorgeous. It turns out just absolutely gorgeous. So if you want, rustic, a lot of people aren't religious, but, a lot of people are. And I kind of keep my opinions to myself, about my religion. But this turns out just absolutely gorgeous. So if you like crosses, this is the cross for you. I think I'm going to give it to my mother. For her birthday is April 3rd. And I'm going to give her this and the garland that I made. So she can put it up, and there it is with the garland. It's just absolutely gorgeous. But it just seemed like it was missing something. It just seemed too plain. So I took my leftover Lowe's paint sticks. And these are things that just been sitting in my stash. I used them for other projects, and I don't want to throw them away. I just don't like throwing stuff away. So this worked out really good. I got rid of a lot of the excess that I had. So here I'm just squaring everything up, making sure. And I have to mark the sides so that I can cut these from both sides because I have, a problem with the hand strength here. But anyways, you're just going to even them up. And then you're going to measure by using the cross itself. Now, I only needed half of the width of these, but I don't have a way to cut them in half. I got a table saw for Christmas, but it's junk. I didn't even get to use it once, and it already doesn't work. So we got to box it back up and take it back to get a new one. But anyways, without that, I don't have a way to cut these. See here, I'm measuring that. I'm going to cut it in half. And I took it out to the miter saw, and that was a big mistake. I made a big boo-boo. It shot the pieces out like wooden bullets. And fortunately, I didn't get hurt. And fortunately, my dogs didn't get hurt. I was very upset with myself after that. I just didn't know. I tried to cut them lengthwise. So anyways, I ended up having to remeasure those for those pieces. and recut. And I thought about I could mark each one of these in half and then go take them to the scroll saw and cut them down, but it's way too much work, and it's too hard to keep a straight line on the scroll saw. So I ended up just leaving them the way that they are. You see how big they are compared to the cross, how tall they are. But I'm still going to glue them at about halfway down. I'm going to set a block underneath it, and hot glue became my best friend for this project. And I hot glue the heck out of it. I get it up there with wood glue and a little dab of hot glue. I get the pieces on, and then I flip it over and glue the heck out of it with hot glue. So anyways, here I am. The vertical pieces I wanted on first. So before I could measure for the side pieces, I wanted the vertical pieces on there. That way I got, and I'm not ciphering in my head, I'm actually physically measuring these, and I'm telling you how to do it. Do the side pieces first, the vertical pieces, and then make sure your pieces are smooth on the ends. And sometimes when you're cutting these sticks, they fall apart, or they crack, chip. That's the word I was looking for. They chip, but it just adds to the rustic look of this. So after I get everything together, then I can do my two side pieces and my top and bottom. And here's where I wrote on them, where they went. So when you're done painting and doing all that, it's like a big jigsaw puzzle. But, and I don't use the antique wax at all. I forgot, and I showed you the antique wax. But anyway, so you see me writing on there where it goes. Problem being, I'm going to paint over that. So I did leave it open in some spots, but it was really hard to read. So anyways, yeah, I used burnt umber and white just like I did before. Same technique. Heavy white on it, and just enough of the brown showing through to make it rustic. And so you're going to see the inside tops of these, so you want to paint on both sides, but you're not going to see the bottom part of them. So you'll see me skipping over the words, because you're not going to see that at all, because the cross is going to cover that. So the two side pieces, I knew I didn't write on those because I knew where they went. Okay, so I took a block to put up underneath it so that I could glue, because it's not going to be level, it's not going to be flat. You're going to glue the paint stir sticks on at their halfway point. So you're going to have as much sticking out of the bottom as you do at the top. So you want to do your vertical pieces before you try to put any of your side pieces on. And here I'm just trying to figure out where they go, which piece goes where. And I'm going to use my Gorilla Wood glue. And you see, this side is the first piece that I do. You're going to see where I found out I needed more hot glue. So anyways, I put the wood glue on, and right there where I gapped and I put the hot glue, well, there, it's not even there. So the hot glue didn't do me any good because it didn't really touch. So, I wait for the hot glue to dry, and it barely dries. It barely had a hold on it. It really didn't do me a lot of good there. So that's where I should have flipped it over and hot glued the heck out of it, but I didn't know that yet. So anyway, you're going to use your wood glue, or any kind of glue, whatever glue you decide to use. The wood stick hot glue would be a really good choice here for this. So here's where I realized first of all, my hot glue was in that gap, so it didn't even touch there. So this is where I realized you need more hot glue. Or I knocked it off there again, I think, maybe. But anyways, now I'm just taking the pointy tip of a skewer and getting rid of that wood glue that seeped out the front side. So you can see the back here doesn't look pretty. Since I have my 2 vertical pieces on, I can go ahead and put my bottom on. And there you see my, I don't know if you've seen that or not, but the side came loose again on me. So anyways, once you get your vertical pieces on, you can do your side pieces. You can do, yeah, you have to do your side pieces before you can do your end pieces. So this is pretty much just gluing. And one thing that I didn't do right, which there's always something, there's always a couple things usually, but I didn't make sure when I put these pieces on that they were straight up and down. So they were slanted, which caused a problem for the next piece. But I realized it when I got to this point here, and I tried to keep them straighter than what I had the other ones. But it really doesn't make a big difference in the end, because you're not going to see that bottom side, and that's, you know, that's where I slanted it. So they were slanted towards the bottom. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but just try to stick them on there as straight as you can. So I just had a habit of having them slant to the bottom side. Yeah, you can see it there, crooked. But it was hard. That part was difficult to keep them straight. I just did my best, and like I said, it turned out gorgeous. So, and I pick off the hot glue as I go, and then flip it over and hot glue the heck out of it. Each piece I flipped over after the hot glue dried on the, you know, the initial spot. I turned it over and hot glued the heck out of it before I put the next piece on. Hot glue was definitely my friend. This is take number 4 or 5 for this voiceover, because I kept messing up my words really bad. I was like, come on, Terry, get it together. So here's what it looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? Just absolutely gorgeous. I think my mom will absolutely love it. I don't know. She doesn't like knickknacks and stuff, so she's kind of hard to buy for. But I think she'll really love it. So here it is. Look how cute it is. My video editors have given me some fits right here. All I can see is a black screen. Isn't that nice? Okay, here we go. Cross number 2. Hopefully I can get this voiceover on there. Like I said, it's take number 5 already because of me. And now my editor wants to freeze up on me. So I'll try to piece it together the best I can. If I don't get it right, please forgive me. So anyways, I took the one that I had used for the other project and then decided not to use. Painted it with burnt umber on the other side. And now I'm taking some burlap that I had gotten from Hobby Lobby and cutting the edges off. We're going to have it frayed a little bit. And this is a real simple, easy cross. So I'm going to use some hot glue, just a tiny little bit, tiny, and then just to hold it in place so I can cut it. And I think I'm going to put it in 2 places just to make sure that it is, you know, it's not going to move while I'm cutting it. Just a tiny bit. And now I'm going to cut it down to cross size. I use white twine, baker's twine, to finish this off, and I'm kind of on the fence about it, but it was a good contrast. I really liked the way the contrast was, but you can make this however you want to make it. You know, you can use regular twine, you can use the white twine. Well, there's all kinds of twine you can use, and you can fray it more. You don't have to wrap it the exact way that I wrap it. I think if I could change anything, which I can, but I would probably not wrap the center the way that I end up wrapping it. So here I am just fraying the sides, cutting off the excess pieces, taking a few pieces off. I make sure if I take a piece off on one side, I take a piece off on the other side to make sure that, it looks the same on both sides. And it looks really nice. This is like I said, a very easy DIY. Cut it down to size and then get your twine or whatever you're going to use. Just a little bit too big on one side. I wanted more of the cross to show than what it was. So here a little bit more hot glue. Just to tack it down. Then we're going to start wrapping. And like I said, you can wrap this in any pattern that you want. Any which way you want to do it. I decided to put an X in the center, but you don't have to. It's such an easy, cute DIY. Here I changed my mind and went back and put a little bit more, wrapped a little bit more on it. So, and I'm just wrapping loosely. I'm figuring it out as I go, how I wanted it to look. Stressing me out because my voice recorder is farther along than my video is, which means I'm going to have to splice, which I'm not very good at. Anyways, look how quick and easy this was. Then I'm going to take a half of a tumbling tower block and glue it to the bottom back side so that it can stand up on its own. Here I'm just trying to figure out, just trying to make all the sides match, the top side to the bottom to the two sides, so that they all pretty much look the same. And here it is. It's very cute. Alright, cross number 3. Taking one of the, I don't know what you call this one, this cross style. It's definitely pretty. I've had it for a while, so the sticker wasn't like terribly stuck on there. I didn't have to use the heat gun on it. It just needed scraped a little bit. Then I'm going to sand it a little bit. And for this one, you don't really have to worry too much about it. We're gonna put scrapbook paper on it. Now, I always, like when I use these, if I know I'm gonna hang it, I always take the twine off and reuse the same twine. But okay, so here's some scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby, and I picked out that blue distressed wood looking one. But anyways, I end up not hanging this. I end up putting tumbling tower blocks at the base of this so it can stand up on its own. And here I'm using Rust-Oleum linen white chalk paint, which is great paint in case you were wondering. I got it off of Amazon. So we're not going to see this. So this is the back side. And you are going to see the sides. And if I had this one to do over again, I would paint the sides a darker color, or maybe even a blue color, because I didn't get the scrapbook paper on there perfect, and you can see some of the white from the side. So here I am. Then my brush has water on it at this point. If you want your things to be bubble free, just put a little bit of water on it. I just dip my brush in my water, and I don't, it's not a lot, just a little bit. Get the back side of the paper wet. And here I'm using my brayer. Is that what you call that? Brayer? It's a roller. Anyways, I use the roller on it. Then after it's dry, you know, I sand the edges down, get any excess paper off. And like I said, I did have my scrapbook paper over a little bit, so one side actually shows, which, you know, it's not a big deal. It's really not. But I decided to take some twine and wrap it around the outside, which gives it a little bit more of the rustic look. And it just makes it look really cute, really pretty. So be careful not to burn yourself here. Just getting down into that little edge. I need to get a fine tip glue gun, because that stuff really comes out, and it's hard to work with this thin twine and the hot glue. So here it is. You can't even really tell it's on there. You can, but it blends right in with it. So here's some vinyl, and I left this in so I could tell you, and you can laugh. I did my stencil, or I did my printing on the back side of the paper. So I had my vinyl, I had my vinyl upside down, and I was trying to take it off there. I was like, what the heck is going on with this? Why won't this come off of there? And I realized I did it upside down. I put my vinyl on upside down and cut on the back side of it. That's me. That's what I do. That's what I do best. But anyways, hope you get a kick out of that. So on this, the way it printed, I didn't like it. I should have moved the H over. You see me? I moved the I over because it was off to the side. It was off to the left side, I believe. So I moved that over to the middle, but I should have moved the F and the H also, because they're based too far over for the T and the A. You know, the A obviously is in the middle, and then the T is pretty much in the middle, but then the H is way off to the side, and the F, I should have moved those over too, but I did not. I waited till after I put it down, and then I moved it. So all in all, these three crosses, the first one being the most difficult, and here I'm going to move my H, but the first one being the most difficult, but the other two are just really easy. And look how far over that H is. Like, I don't know why it come out like that. It didn't look like that on the screen, you know, when I picked out my letters and I wrote it, it didn't look like it was going to be that way. Now the F I take off and I do the same thing, and I put it back on crooked, and didn't realize it was crooked till I was doing the final reveal for it. But anyways, this was a very easy project. I don't have good handwriting, and I don't have a lot of the letters, especially this size, to use, so I did use my Cricut. But you know, if you have something else you can use, that would be, you know, that'd be great. I just didn't have that. I didn't have that option. I wish my handwriting was better. I'd do a lot more. So anyways, I try to use this small one here, and all it does is rock and comes over, falls over. So I end up using a bigger one, either a bigger one or another one. I think I use a bigger one. Oh yeah, I used the big one. Tumbling tower block, just to so it would stand up on its own. And you can always paint that white if you want. You can't really see it, or whatever color you want to paint it. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate you. Please don't forget to click like and come back and see me. Hit that subscribe button.